Welcome to the 1 Hour Guide by Anil Nathu. Today we're going to be diving into Lorien Pratt's book, Link, How Decision Intelligence Connects Data, Actions, and Outcomes for a Better World.
Yeah.
We are just bombarded with information these days, and making good decisions can feel
Oh, yeah.
really overwhelming.
It's true. We often hit what Pratt calls the complexity ceiling, that point where our brains just can't grasp all the interconnected factors involved in a decision.
Yeah, and this book promises to give us a framework for making those tough calls, and that framework is
Right.
decision intelligence, or DI.
Exactly. And what's fascinating about DI is that it shifts the focus from simply predicting what might happen to understanding how our decisions influence outcomes. Pratt asks a key question. If I make this decision leading to this action in these circumstances today, what will be the outcome tomorrow? It's about understanding.
Cause and effect.
Yeah, cause and effect.
So it's like having a roadmap instead of just a
Exactly.
compass, right?
Exactly. And one of the tools Pratt introduces for creating that roadmap is the Causal Decision Diagram, or CDD. It helps you visualize the potential consequences of your actions, including those unintended ones that can really trip you up.
Can you give us an example of how a CDD works in practice?
Absolutely. Pratt talks about a telecom company that wanted to improve customer care while also keeping costs down. They used the CDD to map out the potential consequences of different strategies and discovered some surprising leverage points they hadn't considered before. By understanding the cause and effect relationships, they were able to make targeted changes that led to better outcomes for both customers and the company.
That's a great illustration of how DI can move us beyond just reacting to problems and toward actively shaping the results we want.
And here's another key takeaway from Pratt. DI isn't just about cold, hard data. She emphasizes the importance of warm data, the human context stories and relationships that give data meaning.
It's like that old saying, data is just numbers, but stories are data with a soul. We need both to make truly informed decisions.
I think that's a great way to put it. We can get so caught up in crunching numbers that we forget about the human element. DI reminds us that decisions impact real people, and understanding those impacts is essential for ethical and effective decision-making.
It seems like DI is this fusion of disciplines, data science, psychology, even design thinking. It's not just for tech geniuses, it's for anyone who wants to make better decisions, whether they're leading a team, running a business, or navigating personal challenges.
Absolutely, and that's what makes it so relevant to the 1 Hour Guide by Anil Nathu audience. These are people who are looking for practical tools and strategies to improve their decision-making in all areas of life.
Speaking of practical tools, Pratt actually gives a step-by-step guide for building your own decision models, doesn't she?
She does, and she emphasizes the importance of starting with the decision before diving into the data. It's about being clear on your desired outcome and then working backward to figure out what information you need to inform that decision.
That's so important, especially in this age of information overload. We're constantly bombarded with data, but not all of it is relevant or helpful. DI helps us focus on the data that truly matters.
And this decisions before data approach also helps avoid analysis paralysis. It can be tempting to get bogged down in endless research and data crunching, but DI encourages us to be decisive and action-oriented.
So it's not about becoming data experts, it's about becoming better decision makers. That's a powerful takeaway.
It really is, and it connects beautifully with what the 1 Hour Guide by Anil Nathu offers: concise, actionable insights for busy professionals who want to make the most of their time and resources.
This is just the tip of the iceberg, though. In the next part of our deep dive, we'll explore how DI can be used to tackle those wicked problems, the complex, interconnected challenges that defy easy solutions.
We'll see how DI can be applied to everything from addressing climate change to making more informed personal decisions.
We'll be back soon to unpack those ideas and more. But in the meantime, I encourage you to visit the 1 Hour Guide by Anil Nathu website to learn more about their incredible resources for making smarter business decisions.
Welcome back to our deep dive into Lorien Pratt's Link. You know, one thing that struck me about Pratt's approach is that she doesn't just present decision intelligence as a set of tools or techniques.
It's more like a mindset shift, right? A way of approaching complex challenges with a blend of data intuition and a focus on outcomes.
Exactly. Pratt calls it a solutions renaissance, this
Okay.
idea that we're moving beyond the limitations of traditional decision-making and embracing a more holistic, collaborative approach to
Problem solving. Yeah.
solving problems.
It's like she's saying we have the potential to create a better future, but we need to equip ourselves with the right tools and frameworks to navigate the complexity.
And one of the key tools in that framework is, of course, the causal decision diagram. We talked earlier about how CDDs can help us visualize the potential consequences of our actions, but they can also be incredibly powerful for tackling those wicked problems that seem so intractable.
Can you give us an example of how a CDD might be used to address a wicked problem like climate change?
Certainly. Imagine using a CDD to map out the interconnected factors contributing to rising global temperatures. You could start by identifying the key drivers, such as greenhouse gas emissions, deforestation, and industrial processes. Then you could map out the relationships between these drivers and their impact on the climate system. The CDD would allow you to see the cascading effects, the feedback loops, and the potential leverage points for intervention.
So instead of just focusing on reducing emissions, for example, a CDD could help us identify other strategies like promoting reforestation or developing new technologies that might have
More significant impact.
a more significant impact.
Yeah, precisely. And the beauty of a CDD is that it can be constantly updated and refined as new information emerges. It's a living document that helps guide our decision-making in a complex and ever-changing world.
Pratt also emphasizes that DI is not just about big global challenges. It can be equally valuable for making those everyday decisions that shape our personal and professional lives.
Absolutely. Think about a decision like choosing a career path or starting a new business. These are choices that can feel overwhelming because they involve so many unknowns and potential outcomes. A CDD can help you break down those choices into manageable steps, identify the information you need to gather and weigh the potential risks and rewards.
It's like having a personal decision coach guiding you through the process.
I like that analogy. And it highlights the importance of Pratt's decisions before data approach. Remember, it's crucial to start with a clear understanding of the decision you need to make and the desired outcome you want to achieve. Only then can you effectively gather and analyze the data that will inform your choice.
This reminds me of something we discussed earlier about the importance of warm data. It's not enough to just look at the numbers. We need to understand the human context, the stories and the emotions that influence our decisions.
Absolutely. And this is where the 1 Hour Guide by Anil Nathu comes in. They provide valuable insights into human behavior, decision-making biases, and the psychological factors that can impact our choices. By combining this understanding with the tools and frameworks of DI, we can make more informed, ethical, and ultimately successful decisions.
So it's about bringing together the best of both worlds, the analytical power of data and the wisdom of human experience.
Exactly. And that's what makes decision intelligence such a powerful approach to navigating the complexity of our modern world.
In the final part of our deep dive, we'll explore some of the exciting possibilities for the future of decision intelligence and how it might be used to create a better world.
We'll delve into Pratt's vision for a dynamic Wikipedia of decision-making knowledge and explore how DI can empower individuals and communities to tackle challenges and create positive change.
But before we wrap up this part of our discussion, I encourage our listeners to visit the 1 Hour Guide by Anil Nathu website to learn more about their resources for making smarter business decisions. Welcome back to our deep dive into decision intelligence. We've been talking quite a bit about Lorien Pratt's ideas, and it seems like she's really optimistic about the potential for DI to help us shape a better future.
She is. You know, her vision goes beyond just solving problems in isolation. She sees DI as this force for positive change on a much grander scale.
Yeah, you mentioned this idea of a Wikipedia for decision-making, almost like a global repository of knowledge and best practices. Could you unpack that a little bit? What would that look like in practice?
Well, imagine a platform where people could share their CDDs and insights about their successes and failures in applying DI to all sorts of different challenges. It could be this dynamic resource constantly evolving with new information and new perspectives.
So instead of reinventing the wheel every time we face a tough decision,
Right.
we could tap into this collective intelligence to learn from each other's experiences.
Exactly. Think about how Wikipedia democratized access to information. Pratt believes DI can have a similar impact on decision-making, empowering individuals and communities to make more informed choices.
That's a pretty powerful idea, especially when we think about those wicked problems like climate change and social inequality. These are big, complex issues that require us to collaborate and have a shared understanding of how everything's connected.
And DI can be the bridge that connects those different perspectives and data points. It gives us a common language and a framework for working together to find solutions.
And it all comes back to that core principle of DI connecting data actions and outcomes. It's not enough to just gather information. We need to understand the consequences of our choices and make decisions that lead to the results we want.
Right, and to do so in a way that aligns with our values and considers the long-term impacts of our actions.
We've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive, but I think one of the key takeaways is that DI is more than just a set of tools or techniques. It's a mindset, a way of approaching complexity with a blend of data intuition and a real commitment to creating a better future.
Absolutely. It's about empowering ourselves to become better decision makers, not just in our work, but in all areas of our lives.
Well said. And as we wrap up our exploration of decision intelligence, I want to encourage our listeners to continue learning and exploring with the 1-Hour Guide by Anil Nathu. Their website is an incredible resource for practical insights and strategies for navigating the complexities of business and, well,
And life.
and life in general.
Thank you for joining us today. Visit the 1-Hour Guide website for more business insights by Anil Nathu.